I often get asked, and a lot of my team get asked, what is the cost of transferring money? We tell people based off of, a spread. We take a spread off of the exchange rate, but a lot of people say, but what does it really cost me? It's a not straightforward answer because, I can tell you what the cost is compared to the interbank rate, which is the rate that you will see on Google, but you can't actually get the interbank rate yourself. So it's like comparing a supermarket buying bread from a bakery. They buy it wholesale and they get a certain price, and then you, the consumer, pay a different price. And it's very similar in the foreign exchange world. So what is it costing you? We talk about the spread in the exchange rate. And the spread is the difference between the interbank rate, i.e. the rate that you'll see on Google or other sites like that, Bloomberg, and the rate that you get yourself. So we as a company give a fixed spread off of the interbank rate, and that's how we work out what your net rate is. We also get asked, or people come and tell us that, my bank said that they'll only charge me this percentage or that percentage. And really, they're not always being so truthful. So let's break down the three things that the banks charge, okay? The first thing is they charge you a receiving fee. So every time that you receive foreign currency into your Israeli bank account, they'll charge you a receiving fee, which is normally something along the lines of 0.2% of the amount that you've transferred, where there's also a minimum amount. So if that percentage doesn't hit that minimum, then you'll be charged that minimum. And often there's a maximum amount that fee can be. So, that's one fee. And by the way, Israel Transfer does not charge that receiving fee. The second fee is the conversion fee. So there's a difference between the conversion fee and the spread. So the bank charges two separate fees for this. One is the conversion fee and one is the spread. The conversion fee is just their fee to facilitate the conversion of your money from one currency to another. That fee is often, again, very similar to the receiving fee, 0.2% of the amount that you're converting, with a minimum amount and a maximum amount. Normally, the banks only tell you about the conversion fee, and they often don't tell you about the spread on the exchange rate. That spread can often be anywhere from 1% up to 3%, depending on your bank, what kind of account you've got with them, but they often don't tell you about that. So often clients will come to me and tell me, well, my bank has said they're only going to charge me 0.2% to convert the money, which is true. They're only going to charge that percentage to convert the money. But in reality, you also have to ask, what's the spread that they're going to charge me? So circling back to working out, how much it's really costing you, as I said, it's not straightforward. Yes, you could make and work out the mathematics to see what the percentage that you're being charged is compared to the amounts, compared to the interbank rate, and see how much you're losing compared to the interbank rate. But as I said, no one can get the interbank rate, so you're comparing it to the wrong thing. The best way to compare is comparing apples to apples. So, if you're looking and shopping around and speaking to your bank, the best question to ask is, if I was to send you $100,000 now, $10,000 now, what's the exact amount of shekel that I will receive, including all the fees and everything? And once you have that figure, compare that to who you're comparing with, and then you can see clearly which one's the better deal for you. Having said that, it's not always about price. Price is obviously very important, but just because someone's offering you a better spread or better terms, it's not always as simple as that. For example, there's some companies in Israel that will offer you better spread than Israel Transfer will. However, they're forcing you to convert your money at a given time every day. Why they do that is because they hedge things against each other, and that's how they make some more money. But, is that best for you? You should be able to have the freedom to convert when you want to. If you see that the exchange rate jumps up a little bit, then you can take advantage of it. Whereas with some companies, whilst being offered a better spread, you don't have control of the timing of your conversions. So make sure that you have full control when you can convert the money. And that way, even if you're getting a slightly worse spread on the exchange rate, you could be taking home a lot more shekel despite the worse spread. Another thing to think about is just, if you're working with a company that's overseas, they might be offering you a much better spread. They have different costs overseas and they might be able to give you a better rate. But when you're buying a property, it's really important that the provider that you're using can offer you the payment services that you need. Just a straight transfer isn't always what's needed for a property purchase. Often you need to pay a shovar, which is a voucher to pay for your property, and often you need a bank check. So at Israel Transfer, we offer all those services and can control everything from your initial transfer to the final payment.